What is going on, YouTube fam? Hydrax here, and today we will be looking at the possible new Zenkais coming to Legends. As you can see in the photo, we have 3 possible Zenkais. In the photo you can see LF Frieza, Red Metacooler, and then the OG Yellow Frieza. This image was taken from, I'm pretty sure, one of the YouTube videos. It was not a video and stuff, so it's not 100% confirmed, but there is a likelihood that we will see a Lineage of Evil Zenkai. If we do see a Lineage of Evil Zenkai, I believe we will see the Yellow Frieza first, as he is the oldest unit from the trio that they have showcased here, followed by maybe Metacooler and maybe the LF Frieza. If we go and we check out the Lineage of Evil tag, we can see that there isn't many units, or there aren't many units on this team. We just got the Final Form Frieza from the Broly movie, which is a great support unit for this team. And then other than that, the only other unit that's released or gotten an update is the First Form Frieza here, who is free to play and has his free to play Zenkai available. Not many people have him Zenkai'd, as it is quite a grind to get him to Zenkai 7, but nonetheless he is still a Lineage of Evil unit, even though he does not buff the tag. Okay, let's look at the Final Form Frieza and what he can do currently in the game. I'm leaving him at 9 stars because he is quite an old unit, and people should have him at least 9 stars by now, because he's practically a week 1 unit. This unit was released when the game, around when the game started, or the 2nd or 3rd banner after he released, and prior to this he has received the old buffing system from before Zenkais were made a permanent thing. As we can see, his stats are pretty good: 1.2 million HP, power level, 2.5 million health, strike damage is decent, blast damage is quite poor, and the defenses are quite low. So I do think this guy should get a Zenkai, because it would revive the LOE tag quite a bit, because currently in PvP there aren't many people running these units unless they have them really maxed out, or those people are running them as the main team. This team has not received a generous amount of units over the past couple of months. Other than Metal Cooler and the Final Form Frieza, the team hasn't really received the units other than the EXs, but they aren't, or they won't be as good as, say, running if you run into Zenkai units in PvP, for example. Okay, let's look at the kit for this character. You're going to die, draw an Ultimate Arts card, very good, but his biggest advantage is the 40% strike damage inflicted against Tag Saiyan and the anti-Frieza force, which, although not very relevant, it could be quite useful if you run into maybe somebody running their own LOE team, or maybe a pseudo Frieza Force team with Ginyu Force or something, if people are still running that. But his biggest advantage is the 40% damage, strike damage against Tag Saiyans, which is practically a good majority of the meta in Legends, because a lot of the units are Saiyans. Other than regen and maybe powerful opponent and some god key units like Vados and stuff, this is quite useful, and I can see it being maybe changed to just flat out damage instead of just strike damage if he does get a Zenkai. Death Bowl increases damage, strike damage received, that's very good, and he has his own telekinesis, and which paralyzes the enemy or immobilizes them for a few seconds, which you can get a combo going if you time it right. Catastrophe Death, or Death Catastrophe, deals major explode damage, increases damage inflicted by Lineage of Evil. This is a very good ultimate arts, and it'll be very useful if they do decide to Zenkai him, because most Zenkais, their ultimate art skill does change, and they do provide buffs or debuffs when they do get Zenkai'd. His Z ability is at maxed out, or let's just say you haven't maxed him out 14 star yet. It's 30% to element yellow strike and blast defense, which is very good, but as you can see, he doesn't actually directly buff the tag, even though he is a Lineage of Evil unit. If he does get a Zenkai, I believe this guy would change a lot, because Son family itself has been quite a nuisance in the meta, and having this yellow Frieza would definitely be a great help against maybe wrestling control away from that Son family team, because Cooler here has a Zenkai, which is blue, which you can use against LF Gohan, the free-to-play first one Frieza as well. And if he does get a Zenkai, he would be able to go head-to-head against Purple Super Saiyan 3 Goku. This Final Form Frieza here is very good. The debuffs he provides are insane, as well as support. The fact that he on his green card he can steal as unlimited amount of Dragon Balls depending on how many green cards he get, while paralyzing the enemy, means he's a very good unit. And paired together with Force Form Frieza, he can be very dangerous, especially since he has blast armor on his blue card. If we look at the image again here, we see we have Red Cooler. Red Cooler is quite an old unit and released alongside the Zenkai Broly, the Green Broly from the Second Coming movie. This unit was underwhelming when he released and didn't have a place on Lineage of Evil or the movie Saga's team, and has been forgotten in the most part. His main advantage or main appeal was that he restored HP on his main, which is still pretty good, because in the Lineage of Evil tag there aren't many HP units that provide HP on main or green, especially. I think only Chilled on his green card restores HP, but that's per timer count and not a flat out heal. If Metacooler gets a Zenkai, he would be a welcome addition to Lineage of Evil, but like I said, we just got Final Form Frieza, who's good enough as it is. The following effects occur in his uniques. He restores 5% health when he enters the battlefield, which is pretty good because it does not seem like there's a cap on this, and he'll continuously heal. 30% damage inflicted, 30% to key recovery, and destroys one card. This is a very good unique, and coupled together with the Zenkai, if he does receive one, he would be absolutely busted and would probably replace Final Form Frieza as the de facto red unit if he does get a Zenkai. And the second part of his unique is that he is a disruptor when he enters the field. For each strike arts he takes, or each amount of damage he takes, the number of arts cards he takes, he provides a debuff where he increases card costs against the units. His blue card does not have blast armor. It is a very lackluster blue card, and he only reduces ki. I mean, 70 ki is a lot, but with units swapping in with ki, it doesn't really matter that much. Blitz Shoot, which is pretty good, it doesn't have blast armor. If it did, this would probably be a very good green card, because it would tie in well with this Red Frieza, or maybe the full power one who also has a counter, and you can probably get a combo off pretty nicely on your opponent. If you look at his third unique, or a third buff for Z ability, provides 33% to tag Lineage of Evil or Episode Saga from the movies, blast defense. It is only a single defense, but it is quite high, especially if you have him 6 stars, which this unique or this Z ability is for. All in all, I don't believe this Red Cooler should get a Zenkai yet, because the Lineage of Evil tag does have a red unit, and for movie sagas we have the free-to-play Broly and the Red Gogeta, who both have Zenkais and would probably out-damage this unit. This unit is a defense type, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, and Lineage of Evil is lacking defense types units. Only Full Power Frieza is a defense unit with the Cooler, but Cooler has fallen off, especially now at this later stage. If we look at First Form Frieza, the LF version, I only have him at 7 stars. He is an absolute monster of a unit and has access to a Platinum equip that makes him a very, very good tank. His main appeal and his main gimmick that he does is to buff your allies. He provides a multitude of buffs that cannot be cancelled until he is defeated, and he provides ki and healing on switch out to himself when he switches out, and he inflicts attribute downgrades, and he has a cover change. The cover change allows him to chain into a blue card and a green card, and his green card does immobilize and increase damage on them, and shortens substitution count, so he's doing a lot of good things, and he is quite a recent LF unit, less than a year old at this point. His ultimate arts card is minuses negative 100% to damage cut, has blast armor, and does extra damage against tag Saiyans. I believe he does, yeah, he does do if there has to be a Frieza Force or Lineage of Evil tag for these to activate. I mean, you're not going to really run him outside of either of those teams, but there are meme teams where you just want him for his blue card, because he does hold a blue card and is one of the only few units in the game that do that. His Z ability, I'm leaving it at the Z3 ability, because I doubt, other than people who spent to get him to 9 or 14 stars, many, if not most people, do not have him at 7 stars yet. But at 6 stars, he'd provide 30% to Striker and Blast for Frieza Force and Tag Lineage of Evil. If he receives a Zenkai, it would tie very well with this team, because you could probably run a blue-purple team with triple Zenkais, and they would do very well, because this Cooler, even though he is not a defense type, is quite powerful and has a lot of defense based around his kit, especially his uniques in his Zenkai. This Frieza does a lot of damage to tag Saiyans and is primarily blast, and this Cooler does provide a green card after he uses ult, so they can chain very nicely with either of these units who immobilize. If I had to pick either of the three between these three, I feel like we should get the Yellow Frieza first, because Cooler, even though he is a defense type, does not really have a place on the team at this current point in time because of the Red Frieza that just released, and this Red Frieza is plenty good enough already to hold on the red spot for a couple more months if they decide to Zenkai the yellow one. And LF Frieza, if they decide to Zenkai him, or when they decide to Zenkai him I should say, he would be an absolutely busted unit and would probably skyrocket this team to one of the best in the game, plainly because you have a free-to-play option here with the Zenkai 7 EX Frieza, the Final Form Cooler, and you can run blue, purple, but the Lineage of Evil variant. These units, or the Lineage of Evil units in general, tend to do extra damage against Tag Saiyans and Hybrid Saiyans, and since a large portion of the meta revolves around those teams, you would probably see a great benefit or a great deal of importance with running this team. And with the red Final Form Frieza, you could hold off against regen for quite a bit, because a large majority of their units, or I should say 2 of their main damage dealing units, are yellow, and they are Zenkai'd, so this unit will probably do very well against them. But if we look at the Lineage of Evil tag in general, there aren't many units, and apart from maybe Green getting a Zenkai, which I don't think is going to happen because we just got this Meta Cooler and he's decent enough to hold down the green spot at high stars. Other than full power, we have not seen a yellow Lineage of Evil unit released other than the EX units, and I feel like Final Form Frieza is the best bet right now to see as a Zenkai unit, based on the fact that other than him being the oldest unit on this team that could benefit this team, he would probably fall into the same situation as Android 18, who is also another Zenkai, where she's ran on androids, but she does not directly buff the team. She buffs girls or female warriors that they changed the name for. Even though he does not directly buff the team, if we look at his Zenkai ability, he would probably be yellow tag Lineage of Evil or yellow Freezer Force, which wouldn't really matter much because a lot of the units that are yellow on this team are both Lineage of Evil or Freezer Force based. If we look at the red Metacooler, his Zenkai ability would probably be tag Lineage of Evil red units or Saga from the movie red units. Other than the free-to-play Broly, there isn't a red unit that buffs that provides Zenkai buffs, so either one would be pretty decent and would probably, if it is movie sagas, it would buff this Frieza quite nicely, and if it's Lineage Evil, it will buff both of them regardless. This first form Frieza would probably be Lineage of Evil exclusively, because I don't see him being a Freezer Force buffer based around the fact that his legends limited, and it wouldn't really make sense because you wouldn't really run him off the Lineage of Evil team unless you're memeing. Anyway guys, let me know what you think of the events, especially this little nugget of information, whether it's going to be factual or not, or whether this was just a thing they did on stream to showcase the new Dragon Ball Saga units. If you enjoyed this video, leave a thumbs up, comment if you have your own predictions of what could be coming for next week, or is this just a hoax in itself that this was posted. If we do receive a Zenkai, will you be Zenkaiing this first form Frieza or any of the units here? Let me know in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed the video. My name is Hydrax, and I'll catch you all later.